warning them that even private prayer within their own homes may amount to breaking the law.
Who said, I'm absolutely furious at what J.D. Vance said. I'm furious because it took an American politician to say something that no one is brave enough to say.
The threat that I worry the most about vis-a-vis Europe is not Russia, it's not China, it's not any other external actor.
Is immediately people go, he's wrong, he's talking rubbish, how dare he come here into our backyard and tell us a few home truths.
And an Army veteran with the heinous crime of standing 50 meters from an abortion clinic and silently praying for 3 minutes. Where EU commissars warn citizens that they intend to shut down social media during times of civil unrest, the moment they spot what they've judged to be, quote, hateful content.
In the UK, let me just show you these headlines this morning. Daily Telegraph, Vance, free speech in Britain is in retreat. The Times.
I look to Sweden, where 2 weeks ago the government convicted a Christian activist for participating in Koran burnings that resulted in his friend's murder. We saw the horrors wrought by these decisions yesterday in this very city.
Vance tells Europe to clean up its own mess. The Guardian, Vance.
It's important in the coming years for Europe to step up in a big way to provide for its own defense.
Vance launches blistering attack on Europe.
And what I worry about is the threat from within. While the Trump administration is very concerned with European security and believes that we can come to a reasonable settlement between Russia and Ukraine, and we also believe that it's important in the coming years for Europe to step up in a big way to provide for its own defense, the threat that I worry the most about vis-a-vis Europe is not Russia, it's not China, it's not any other external actor. And what I worry about is the threat from within, the retreat from...
So recently, J.D. Vance did something that is mind-blowing. Like, it's crazy. Yeah, he actually reaffirmed that God is on the throne, okay? And if you're a Christian, you should rejoice, okay? So he represented America in Germany, and that was the Munich Security Conference, right? And then he comfortably stood in the front of the crowd and went against every negative, evil practices in Europe. And when you think about this, when you think about Europe, you think about Christianity, because it's almost like, you think about Europe, it's all about, it's about Christianity, right? But it's obvious that over time, the values of America and compared to the values of Europe is gradually shifting. Like, America has this thing in God we trust, and I, for one, believe that's the stem, that's the value of America. But when you start looking at what's happening, it's shifting under our nose without we knowing. And in fact, I don't want to spill the beans. Let's just watch this.
Other external actor. And what I worry about is the threat from within, the retreat from some of its most fundamental values shared with the United States of America.
So yeah, he said fundamental values, right? Yeah, keep that point. And the fundamental values are from within, like from inside, not from without, like external, right? And it's very, very easy for you to forget where you started, and then you start chasing the wrong stuff. And he pointed out how the policies of the government in Europe is affecting Christians. Let's continue.
Now, these cavalier statements are shocking to American ears. For years, we've been told that everything we fund and support is in the name of our shared democratic values. Everything from our Ukraine policy to digital censorship is billed as a defense of democracy. Now, within living memory of many of you in this room, the Cold War positioned defenders of democracy against much more tyrannical forces on this continent. And consider the side in that fight that censored dissidents, that closed churches, that canceled elections. Were they the good guys? Certainly not. And thank God they lost the Cold War. They lost because they neither valued nor respected all of the extraordinary blessings of liberty.
You see, so the Cold War is what happened before, right? And yeah, they paid the price, okay? But then he's trying to say Europe is about to return to the same thing that happened before.
And unfortunately, when I look at Europe today, it's sometimes not so clear what happened to some of the Cold War's winners. I look to Brussels, where EU commissars warn citizens that they intend to shut down social media during times of civil unrest the moment they spot what they've judged to be, quote,
The freedom of
hateful
speech.
content. Or to this very country, where police have carried out raids against citizens suspected of posting anti-feminist comments online as part of, quote, combating misogyny on the internet, a day of action. I look to Sweden, where 2 weeks ago the government convicted a Christian activist for participating in Koran burnings that resulted in his friend's murder. And as the judge in his case chillingly noted, Sweden's laws to supposedly protect free expression do not, in fact, grant, and I'm quoting, a free pass to do or say anything without risking offending the group that holds that belief. And perhaps most concerningly, I look to our very dear friends, the United Kingdom, where the backslide away from conscience rights has placed the basic liberties of religious Britons in particular in the crosshairs. A little over 2 years ago, the British government charged Adam Smith Connor, a 51-year-old physiotherapist and an Army veteran, with the heinous crime of standing 50 meters from an abortion clinic and silently praying for 3 minutes. Not obstructing anyone, not interacting with anyone, just silently praying on his own. And after British law enforcement spotted him and demanded to know what he was praying for, Adam replied simply, it was on behalf of the unborn son he and his former girlfriend had aborted years before. Now, the officers were not moved. Adam was found guilty of breaking the government's new buffer zones law, which criminalizes silent prayer and other actions that could influence a person's decision within 200 meters of an abortion facility. He was sentenced to pay thousands of pounds in legal costs to the prosecution.
So of everything the law enforcement or even the government should worry about, of all going on, it's a man standing, praying silently without obstructing anybody. It's scary. You know, who knows how many people are going through, how many Christians are going through persecution, and no one knows. If you think you've heard enough, well, listen to what happened in Scotland, what he said too. And if you're new to my channel, please subscribe, like, and share this video. Hit the notification bell so you can see things like this when it comes up. The idea is for us to learn and get better. I do like Christian reactions, and sometimes I talk about the Bible too, okay?
I wish I could say that this was a fluke, a one-off crazy example of a badly written law being enacted against a single person. But no, this last October, just a few months ago, the Scottish government began distributing letters to citizens whose houses lay within so-called safe access zones, warning them that even private prayer within their own homes may amount to breaking the law. Naturally, the government urged readers to report any fellow citizens suspected guilty of thought crime. In Britain and across Europe, free speech, I fear, is in retreat.
Thought crime. I've never heard of that. I wonder what that is. I have to look it up, but it's scary, you know. I don't even know how Christians will survive in such a place, but honestly, I feel like if you're praying silently in your home and you didn't disturb anybody and someone shows up in your door and says, I knew you were praying, I'm going to arrest you. That means you have to pray harder because spiritually you're doing something. Honestly, like that's the way I saw it. But that's weird though, because someone like me, I recently bought this, and my idea is so that I can sing on Sundays, dance for God. I don't know how I would have survived in such a place, but honestly, that's not fair on Christians, honestly. But let's continue.
But let me also ask you, How will you even begin to think through the kinds of budgeting questions if we don't know what it is that we're defending in the first place? I've heard a lot already in my conversations, and I've had many, many great conversations with many people gathered here in this room. I've heard a lot about what you need to defend yourselves from, and of course that's important. But what has seemed a little bit less clear to me, and certainly I think to many of the citizens of Europe, is what exactly it is that you're defending yourselves for. What is the positive vision that animates this shared security compact that we all believe is so important? And I believe deeply that there is no security if you are afraid of the voices, the opinions, and the conscience that guide your very own people. Europe faces many challenges, but the crisis this continent faces right now, the crisis I believe we all face together, is one of our own making. If you're running in fear of your own voters, there is nothing America can do for you, nor for that matter is there anything that you can do for the American people who elected me and elected President Trump. You cannot win a Democratic mandate by censoring your opponents or putting them in jail. Whether that's the leader of the opposition, a humble Christian praying in her own home, or a journalist trying to report the news.
So he made it very clear, like, what are you defending yourself for? And that is, the for is the value. Like, why did you decide you're doing this in the first place? Not what you are protecting yourself from, you know? And it's interesting as a Christian to see this happen. Although he didn't quote the Bible, I know that Trump, you know, whoever sent him to go represent America knows about this, and that's impressive. Although he sounded arrogant, which for me, I think that's what it should be, especially when you're knowing you're saying the right thing, okay? Speaking about values, right? This guy is presenting his values. And for me, my value is Jesus Christ. What is your value? How comfortable are you presenting your value in the face of people who you even think they don't even, you know, agree with what you're saying? Still doesn't dispute the fact that you are going against them, but you are just stating the points or what you believe in. And that is what he did right now. So the Bible says we are the light of the world. And no one brings the light and put it under a bowl. You bring it and put it on a stand so that the whole world would see. You know, a house built on a mountain is not hidden. So we should be like that. We should let our light shine, bring it out so that everybody will see. And that's exactly what he did. And in your workplace, what are you doing? How do you present your value? People say it's not okay to discuss religion, politics. You know, I don't know why. Saying things, having a conversation about things like that doesn't make you right or wrong. It only states who you are. If you're a Christian, it states who you are in Christ. You know, people hide religious objects so that other people won't feel that they are being judged. Why would you do that? Like, it's okay to state who you are. It doesn't make the other person wrong. It's just you trying to say, if you are doing things like this, please don't call me. But when you are doing things like this, let me know. I'm in, right? And that is what America is doing here. They're stating their values and what they believe in. Let's just continue. So he knew that what he's about to say, that was before he started the speech, he knew that what he's about to say is not going to be like generally accepted by everyone. So he kind of gave a warning. Just watch this part, okay?
Are with Munich and everybody affected by the evil inflicted on this beautiful community. We're thinking about you, we're praying for you, and we will certainly be rooting for you in the days and weeks to come. Now,
listen.
I hope that's not the last bit of applause that I get, but we got.
Yeah, so guys, let us be comfortable to stand for what we believe in. Don't let anybody cajole you. Don't let anybody make you feel timid, you know, because it says, for God has not given us the spirit of fear and timidity, but of power, love, and self-discipline. It doesn't mean we should be arrogant, but stand for what you believe in. America just stood for what they believe in. What about you? Like, subscribe, and follow my channel, and I'll see you next time.